From every strand on the line of your reel, to the rods, to the anglers, to the lures on the end of your hook, let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your hosts, Rob Welch and John Stoudinger.
Good evening, everybody. I'm John, and
how y'all are? Cajun Rob here, holding it down on a wide open Wednesday.
Yes. One of our favorite programs is the Wednesdays because we never know what's going to happen, who's going to be our guest. But tonight we have a friend of mine, Mr. Eddie Carper from Oklahoma, just recently moved to Ohio. And I see Rick Amato's here from Leesburg, Florida. He's here. One of our guests that's always on. So,
Rick, you're good people, my friend. You are good people.
Yes, sir. Even though we went from New York to Florida, we still treat him nice. All right, you ready to bring on Mr. Carper?
Let's bring him on.
All right. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Oh, where'd we go?
There we go. Flip a reco. There we go.
Now you got me on the big screen now.
Oh, we got the star there now, man. We got the star up there now.
Yep.
See if I can deal without them.
Nobody wants to see Rob and I. We're on here too much.
Yeah.
No.
Probably nobody want to see me either.
Well, there's more people on than you think that want to see you. So.
Yep.
Well, good.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Good.
So if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about you and your background and how you got started fishing and.
Okay. Well, let's see. Well, y'all already heard my name, so I don't need to repeat that. But I got my background is in construction. When I was still in school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I kind of wanted to travel the United States. So I got into construction, primarily because there wasn't really a lot to do around my house at the time where I lived. So, I worked around a few jobs around there, and I kind of hit the road and started fitting pipe and doing all those kind of things. Today, I'm in a little different position, so I do some field engineering work today. But I've been to, let's see, Australia, Japan, China.
Wow.
I've been to the UAE, and I've been to Malaysia, and I'm missing one somewhere. I'm missing one. It's hard to remember all those places, but that's all the places that that's all the places that construction has taken me in my life here, in my time on Earth. Now, I got started, and anybody's, in school that's watching, whatever, the construction business is a really good business to get into. It's not great for fishing. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you want to fish, you probably need to look somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because I've had a hard time making that work for a long time, particularly while I was overseas. There was no opportunity to fish. So, back up just a little bit. When I was just a really young feller, I'd fish with my grandmother down at a little place called Glover River. It's a low water bridge, and we go down there and catch perch. This was back in the 70s. And, if they caught one that big, it went in a bucket. It went home.
Well, oh yeah.
Back in them days, things was pretty lean. So that's where I kind of got started fishing. And the first actual bass I ever caught, my dad bought me, I was 5 years old, I think, 5 or 6. He bought me a little Zipco 33 and a little rod. And I've told this story on Facebook a couple times, but I didn't have nothing but a hook. So I walked down to a pond that was by the house, and I could see the fish feeding around in there. So I picked a green leaf off a tree and wormed it on that hook and threw it out there, and I caught a bass about 2 pounds.
Oh, hey.
And that's what lit the fire in me to bass fish. So that's where that got started, and come up from there. Fishing through my younger years, up when I was 9 and 10, my grandfather would take me, and I'd go with anybody. If they were going fishing, I was going to get the back of the truck.
Right.
So
Right.
once I got kind of out on my own, started fishing on my own, I really got started fishing tournaments with my dad when I was 17ish, and we started
Okay.
fishing tournaments and fished the Angler's Choice Trail around there in Oklahoma and a couple other things. We done really good. Won some money down in Texas on several of the East Texas lakes, a lot of the Oklahoma lakes, Arkansas lakes, and then from there I kind of in my early 20s I kind of went out on my own, and actually I think I fished my first, and it was back when they were still Everstarts. Uh, you know, actually, the first big tournament I fished, I think it was the Triple T Texas
Yep.
Tournament Trail that FLW put on, and that was back in early '90s, mid '90s, I think. And I did okay at that, and I kind of went through a little issue there, so I didn't fish for about 10 years. And then I came back and I decided to start fishing again. I bought my dad's old boat. It was a 374 XT Ranger, 150 on it. And I was working at a paper mill in Arkansas, Crossit, Arkansas.
Yep.
So I started fishing there on the Washita River, and that kind of relit the fire in me to fish competitively again. And I've kind of been doing it ever since. I've been through 4 or 5 boats since then. Run a Ranger for a long time. Moved over to Phoenix in 2019, I believe. And, kind of the rest is history. But like I said, as far as my, tournament fishing is concerned, construction has not been really kind and lenient for me to go and practice.
Yep.
Right.
Because every tournament you got to have about a week off to go and do your thing.
Oh yeah.
So the first big tournament I won, I say a big tournament, and to me, a BFL is a pretty good sized tournament, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They're in many ways harder to win than a multiple day professional level event. I'll
Absolutely.
say that and I'll swear to it, and you can't tell me any different because I fished a lot of them. So I drove down to Florida one weekend to fish a tournament, a BFL on St. Johns River. Never even seen the place. Stopped at a store there in Palatka, Florida to put gas in my boat and get me something to eat. And there was a gunfight went on across the street. So I boogied out of there and, it was a bit comical really because everybody was scattering everywhere and I'm somewhere I don't even know where I'm at. And,
wow.
So I make it down to the boat ramp. I get down to the little parking area there at the boat ramp, and the tire on my boat trailer is going flat, and I can hear it whistling. So I get out and I change the tire, and I pull up on a curb to get the tire off the ground, get it changed. Pull over there in the parking lot, roll my sleeping bag out on the deck of my boat like a fool, and I just left the gunfight up the street. So I rolled my sleeping bag out on my boat, and all I hear is people walking up and down the street all night, busting bottles and stuff. And, I'm thinking, what am I doing? I didn't get a room because I got there too late. I drove half the night to get there in the first place. So, I did a little research on Google Earth the evening, a couple of days before, and I said, I want to go fish that spot. And so, I got the next morning, got my co-angler in the boat and everything. And we took off. When they called my number, I think I was boat 7 or something like that. So I run probably 40 miles up to St. John's to Lake George, and then about halfway across Lake George to something I seen on Google Earth. And I made 2 casts and I caught a keeper. I thought, oh boy. Well, as it wound up, I caught 26 pounds. I had a 10-pounder and an 8-pounder. I won that tournament, and I'd never fished that place in my life.
Wow.
Just drove up there and went fishing. So that's just kind of in the construction world. That's just kind of how you got to roll with it. The competitor in me wants to go and do this. I know I don't have time, but I enjoy the camaraderie of all the anglers and getting to know people and going different places. And it does not bother me one bit to not go somewhere and practice.
Yep.
Sure.
that kind of bit me last year in the invitationals, but it is what it is. A whole different kind of caliber of fishermen and a lot of places I had never been, and it was a lot of travel. I wound up staying up for, I wound up fishing some of those events last year and never even going to sleep.
Yep.
Make a 12-hour drive to get there, go to the meeting, get in the water, fish a day, come in, get rigged up and ready to go back out there. I'm so dang wired up.
Oh yeah.
And actually too tired to sleep. So I wound up fishing all of the competition days without any rest or very, very little rest. So it was really hard on me last year. But that's kind of an overview of my past, if you will, a little bit.
Okay.
It's obviously not everything. I could talk for hours on it, but that's just kind of me in a nutshell. I just like to fish, and I'm not scared to go against. I don't care. I'll go fish against Jacob Wheeler tomorrow.
Yep.
With no practice on his home lake, and I've actually done that. So I just like the competition. I like the camaraderie of all the anglers and talking to them, visiting with them, and learning a little bit about new lakes.
Definitely.
I hear that a lot about. I mean, you fished a little bit in the NPFL. I hear that's one of the biggest things about that. It's a lot of the anglers and feel like it's a family-oriented organization as opposed to some of the others where it's a lot of cutthroat.
And I can talk on that a little bit. Me and some of the players there in the NPFL, the owner group, we've not got along a couple of times, and it wasn't because we wasn't family. I just kind of didn't agree with how things were going. But after I've stepped back away from it for a year, I didn't fish with them last year. I decided to go over to the MLF and see what that was all about at that level up there. And it was kind of a really big eye opener for me. I didn't realize how much animosity there was on the MLF side of things.
Yeah.
As in comparison to the NPFL. And since that time, I've talked to some of the owners and of the NPFL, and I've apologized for basically maybe having some rude behavior or whatever, but which it really wasn't, but I did owe them an apology. But I do feel like the NPFL is a better organization.
Yep.
100% better after seeing the other side versus that side. There's no comparison. They are. Yeah. If anybody is thinking about fishing the NPFL, I would recommend you to do it, because you're not going to get that kind of family-oriented atmosphere anywhere else, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we had Todd Gold on here once, and he said that's one of his favorite parts of the NPFL is it's more of a family than all these other circuits.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I know Todd a little bit, not a lot, but just a little bit.
Rick Amato wants you to show him that spot down in Florida, and he'll keep an eye on it for
you. I've showed a few people over the years that little place, but I try to keep that one to myself. Someday I'll wind up back there, but it's not too hard to find if you just open up Google Earth and go back a few years and get to looking around the edge of the lake. You'll see it pretty quick.
Yeah, that's a lot. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You didn't.
Okay.
All right. Eddie, I know you run the Phoenix. What current model are you on Phoenix, and what motor are you running on your Phoenix right now?
So, yeah, I'm running a 2022 Phoenix 921 Elite, and I've got a 250 Mercury Pro XS on the back of it.
Cool.
And of course, everything else is Lowrance.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's It's an awesome boat. It's a
Oh,
big
yeah.
rascal, but it's an awesome boat. You know, it runs up there. It's not a speed demon, so if you're thinking about getting one of them to go 80 miles an hour, it probably ain't gonna happen unless you're Aaron Martins, you know, or something like that, and you carry, you know, in today's fishing, about all you need is a daggum jig head minnow. It seems like, so you got a few of them, you might get the lift to get up there. I don't know, but me, I got to carry my whole smorgasbord of everything in there, and
Oh, yeah.
she's pretty heavy, and I can run 72, 73 on about any water, and sometimes I'll get up there in those, you know, 74, 75, you know, area. You know, so it's been a real good machine for me for sure.
Oh,
And
yeah.
this is the second. The first Phoenix I had was a 20 PHX,
Yep.
and
Okay.
I like that boat too. I actually, if I had to buy another one tomorrow, I'd probably buy another 20 PHX, and it's primarily because I like the 20-foot boat fits my style a little better. So I
Right.
like to
Okay.
get up shallow and pitch and flip and stuff. So that little bit smaller, it will still handle the big water, but I can kind of get around the docks and the trees and stuff a little bit better.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Have you thought about an aluminum boat? Get you up a little closer?
I'll tell you what, I have. I have. I've thought about them for the last 2 or 3 years, to be honest with you, and I just never really had the time to really look into it a whole lot. I know I remember the old days, and I've drawn out over the years, and it's funny. This is called Co-Angler Corner because I can remember one event, and it's been back in 1993, I think it was 1993 on Millwood Lake in Arkansas. I drew out with Ricky Green, and he had a aluminum boat then. It was a 19 or 18 or 19-foot Express. I think it had a 150 on it or something like that. And of course, that was a lot of years ago. But
Oh, yeah.
so Millwood's a pretty good sized lake, 39,000 acres, I believe it is, and an average depth of about 3 foot. And it's like a big chili bowl, if you can imagine
Yeah.
that. You know, stumps everywhere, and they got boat trails cut through it. It's kind of like Seminole or something like that, except it's like super shallow everywhere.
Right.
So we come out of the dam where we took off there, and that boat beat the crap out of me for about 5 or 6 miles out there to where he finally stopped it. And then we get stopped out there, and we're fishing on I believe it was Ash Flats. Might have been on along Hickory Creek Flats. But you know, we caught a few little old fish, but it wasn't good. And then it's, you know, some things in his boat went wrong. His live well pumps wouldn't work, stuff like that. And you know, those things kind of aggravated me. But so, you know, I know things have changed. I know they're better. I would love to someday, you know, take a ride in one of these big new express boats and see how they do. I'm not going to say they would pull me away from Phoenix because I really like my Phoenix now, but my fishing style leans toward that aluminum boat category.
Yeah, that's the only reason I asked that is because you're a shallow water fisherman, and it seems like that would suit you. That would suit you a little better, but
yeah, I've fished out a couple of X19s as a co, and I was pretty impressed with them. My handling and the way they turned and all, I was pretty impressed with it.
So you got to think, you know, that boat's probably advanced a lot since 1993. You know, that was 20 years ago.
Yep.
No, wait a minute. That was 30 years ago.
Yeah. Yep.
So there's certainly been some advancements made in them since then. And, I mean, I see Lee Livesey running one, and you know, several of the elite guys are running one. And let's see, old John Sukup run one.
Yep.
I don't know if he's still running one or not, but he was running one.
Yeah, I think he switched out this year, but
yeah, I think he went to Blazer or something or another.
I think so too.
But
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny. I better not say it. We on camera here. I probably shouldn't say. I better keep my mouth shut on that deal. But you know, anyway, you know, I can only say that, if you look at Sukup's record, in that amount of time, it's went downhill. His fishing record has
Okay.
kind of fallen off, and sometimes I begin to wonder if that's the boat change may have had something to do with that. I've seen that before with other guys. Is why I say that. I got away from, and I'll never speak. I can't say anything bad about Ranger at all. I run them for years, but when I made the change to a Phoenix, my fishing went from good to really good, and I don't know, but I can't prove it. But if you look back on the records of what I did since 2019, it's been consistently better. So I think sometimes we're better off. In the fishing industry, we have to dance with the girl we brought, right?
Exactly.
Or the guy we brought, or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If we got a sponsor, we got to pretty much dance with them.
Yep.
And sometimes that's not a good thing for people. And I kind of hate to say that because it sounds bad, but it's just the truth.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes the truth will set you free.
Yep.
And like I said, I don't ever see me if I buy another boat, I don't see me buying something other than a Phoenix. But I'm not saying I won't either. It's in the economy and the way things are going, you kind of begin to look at the cheaper options that may not be as good or whatever. And you got to look at the average bass boat nowadays is in the 90s. That's my first brand new bass boat I ever bought. Brand new. It was a ZX 185 skidder with a 150 Yamaha on it.
Yep.
It was $24,000.
Wow.
Brand new, off the showroom floor. I went down there and we drug it out of the shop and hooked it up in my truck, and I went home.
That's about the price of the electronics now.
Yeah, I was 20 years old.
Yeah, it blows my mind. I go to a boat ramp and there'll be a kid with like a brand new Dodge Cummins diesel crew cab dually and a brand new Ranger. I'm like, that's a house right there. How's this kid, 18, 19, getting this? I'm like, that was my house. That's how long ago.
Yeah, well, I'm proud for them. I'm glad they can do that.
Hats off to them. They can have those payments. They can have those payments. I don't want them.
That's right. And a lot of times, though, the negative side of that, what you don't see is this young man or young lady will go along for a couple of years, and then she'll run into something like I just ran into 6-7 months ago, where all of a sudden they come in and told me I didn't have a job anymore.
Yep.
And next thing you know, they've got to let it go.
Yep.
And that just almost happened to me. And I know what I make and I know what I can do and everything else, but those bills, they keep coming whether you got a job or not. And some of these youngins, they probably haven't experienced that yet.
They will. We know this. I hope they don't.
I hope they never do, but I've experienced it about 3 times in my lifetime. It seems like about every 10 years, things seem to go southward for whatever reason. I don't know. But it does. But anyway, I'm proud that they can go get it and do good. And it seems like these younger cats are doing really good in the tournaments these days anyway, so some of them are definitely good enough to be there.
Oh yeah.
And some of them are just like everybody else. Some of them are just not,
Yeah. We're
all not meant to be professional anglers.
Right.
That's just that. And I'm probably one of them. I try really hard, but it's, when you have a, 5-day-a-week job, 10-hour-a-day job, sometimes 60 hours a week, sometimes even 70, it's just hard to get away and
Definitely.
And go enjoy yourself.
But it's still fun to
have a
get
tournament.
away though. When you get to
Yes,
get
sir.
a chance, it is worth
Yes,
it though.
sir. I'm chomping at the bit right now to get away from up here and go to some of these Ohio lakes that I ain't never seen. That's what drives me. If there's anything in fishing that drives me is going to a new body of water that I don't know nothing about and figuring it out.
Yeah. Now I heard Mosquito Lake up there has really got some big ones. I heard a lot about Mosquito Lake up there.
I have too, and I can't wait to go up there and try it. It's about an hour and a half. Well, maybe it might be 2 hours north of where I am.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to. I was actually looking at the Buckeye BFL schedule this morning and thinking, can I fit those in? With my work and everything, I could probably take a Friday off a month and go fish me one of them things. Just kind of scratch the itch till 2025 comes back around, and then I can go back and my intent is to maybe go back and do the NPFL again.
Okay.
That's where I'm going towards, but I don't know if I can do that or not right now, but that's what I'd like to do.
Yeah, only place I'd tell you not to fish is the Ohio River. I fished it twice, and it's brutal. It's brutal, man. It's small fish heaven right there.
Oh, I've heard that, and I grew up where I say that I didn't grow up there, but I grew up fishing a lot of rivers, the Arkansas River particularly, up in Oklahoma and down through Arkansas. Now, there's a couple of pools on the Arkansas River that are like that.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of pools on the Arkansas River where you might catch a 10-pounder too.
Wow.
But that's one thing I would like to see some of the tournaments bring back into the schedule is more rivers.
Yeah, yeah.
It would diversify things a whole lot. You got the whole entire the Mississippi River all the way from wherever it starts up there in Wisconsin all the way to the Gulf of Mexico, and all of it is slam loaded with bass. Up north it's smallmouth and largemouth. They just don't get real big. You get down around Tunica, Mississippi, and there's 10-pounders swimming around down there.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody talks about it anymore, and I don't know if the infrastructure's there anymore. I fished the first time I fished Mississippi River. I was in We took out a Greenville, Mississippi.
Yep.
And they're around some casinos. We put in on a thing for the casino. It wasn't even like a boat ramp. It was just like I don't know what it was. But anyway, we all put in there, and the fella that beat me, the last name was Harmon. Can't remember his last name. But I ran about, 45, 50 miles up the Mississippi River and went into a little Oxbow Lake. And I'm going to tell you, that was before I learned not to catch fish during practice. I'm still kind of trying to learn that a little better.
That's hard to do sometimes.
Yeah. When I found this place, it was automatic. You could flip a black jig next to a bush and it wouldn't hit the bottom.
Dang.
Every one of them was 4 to 8 pounds. And I caught them. I hated myself the next day when I finally got back there in the actual tournament, and didn't catch them. But the river had fell a few feet and those fish had moved is what happened. But that's how good that is over there. And if you look back in some of the old, I don't remember if they were bass or FLW, but they had a lot of tournaments out of Tunica.
Yep.
And if you watch, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Davy Height run all the way down to the lake that I was talking about. It was like a 3-hour boat ride one way. And he led the tournament, and I don't remember if he won or not, but he was right there the last day. But every one of those guys seemed like they had 20 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the kind of fishing that's there if you can get back in them old lakes, the mock.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They live there, and they're big, and they're not Florida strain. They're regular northern strain largemouth, and they like to eat. It's what the old true South fishing was when I was a kid growing up. They'll eat anything.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I like to see more rivers come back into play. The Arkansas rivers, if you get down in the Dumas pool down there, which is the last pool before it connects up with the Mississippi River, they sure enough catch some 10-pounders down there. I've caught one there, so I know. I fished a BFL there many moons ago, and I had 8 something or another and got big bass with it.
Wow.
So those fish live down there. I don't know if they're as good as what it was then or not, but it certainly used to be good. It's funny. I used to fish against old Greg Hackney down there.
Yep.
Down there in Dumas. He used to live right around there somewhere, and he was you about couldn't beat him. There. Yeah. He was a show enough stud, and still is. Anyway. But that's why I'd like to see. And we have, it's not just those 2 rivers. We have rivers all over the continental United States that's full of fish.
Oh yeah.
That we don't go to.
Yep.
So I just want to just say give a shout out to Andrew Pulliam. He's a regular guest on here and regular visitor, viewer, I should say. Just want to say hi. Yeah, and with the rivers, I'm kind of glad that some of the tournaments are switching it up, but they're not. I'm not getting like 4 or 5 big tournaments a year on the St. Lawrence this year, which is nice.
Yep.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about coming up there. I don't know anything about St. Lawrence at all, but I was actually thinking about maybe.
Don't even waste your time. There's no fish there.
Yeah. Yeah, we know there ain't.
Oh yeah. There's maybe no small fish there, maybe.
Right. All them smallmouth growed up.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they did. The gobies might add a little bit.
Might add a little bit to do with that.
You can fish a lot coming from Ohio. You can have some good water all the way through.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to getting into it a little bit. It's going to be interesting. With the work that I'm doing here, it's going to put some pressure on me, but I think we can work it out and be able to get back there and start fishing competitively. Again. Yeah. If I was back home right now, I've done missed the start of all that down there.
Right.
So coming up here is kind of I'm starting up here, and the first tournament isn't until June. So, hey, I got a chance.
There you go.
It's what I tell people. If you're going to go fish a tournament, if you're there, you've got a chance.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not there, you ain't got no chance. But as long as you're there and you're fishing and you're trying, you've got a chance to win.
Oh, always. Definitely.
If you don't mind, I want to bring this back to something you had mentioned earlier. Google Earth. You mentioned Google Earth, and me as a co-angler, and I'm sure Rob as a co-angler, he does his studies too. I look at Google Earth, and I'll guarantee you that 99% of the professional fishermen use Google Earth.
Oh yeah.
I don't care how old they are. If they're 20 years old or 50 years old, they're looking at it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's just too much knowledge just in that, and it bugs me that people sit there and it's just a video game. Yeah, but they put the research. They know why they're there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They do the research.
Sometimes, if you look at Google Earth Pro, you can go back and look at past years, and you find the times when the waters they've had a drawdown or something, and especially what I did at the St. John's, I looked back to a period where the water was like 3 foot low or something like that, and seen these dock pilings and stuff in the water in the place that nobody would ever think of fishing except me.
Yep.
And that I made $14,000 off of that deal. Just for a few minutes of few minutes of research in a BFL because I run a Phoenix, so I got Phoenix money plus the deal, you know. So,
Oh yeah.
So it's worth your time, and you can't download Pro on your phone. You have to do that on a computer.
Yep.
But it's worth your time to do that, and it's even more worth your time to do that on Highland reservoirs that they draw down
Yes.
in the wintertime.
Oh yeah.
But what you can do is you can get those GPS coordinates off your Google Earth, put them into your map on your phone, and go that route. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
You drive right to it.
let old school. Yeah, it's just one more step.
Yep. I tell you what, I tell people this all the time, and people want to say how big of a game changer forward-facing sonar is and all these things. You know what the biggest game changer I've seen in my lifetime as far as fishing? What that was?
What's that?
GPS.
Yep. Absolutely.
Global positioning systems absolutely changed the freaking game. You know, back in the, excuse me, back in the old days, we had to triangulate things. You know, you can imagine yourself out in the middle of Kentucky Lake trying to triangulate a little spot.
Yep.
Well, you could get close.
Yep.
But you wasn't as precise. Nowadays, if you combine all the technology that we have with GPS, forward-facing sonar, you can find a little brush pile out there that's literally this big in a matter of seconds.
Oh, absolutely.
And make your first cast count.
Yep.
You can hit the meat of that thing on your first cast. And that is the only reason I have forward-facing sonar right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
I remember.
But that's the cool factor of that for me. You know, it's not chasing a fish around with flicking a little minnow out there. You know, the cool factor to me is drive up to my waypoint, scan around. Oh, there it is right there, and I make one cast and catch that fish.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the cool time saver. Time saver.
Yep.
I do agree with you with the GPS. Like way back in the 90s during my club tournament days, you know, we would do a night tournament. We didn't have GPS.
Yeah.
And you look, and we're going down Hugo Lake. Here it is, 9:00 at night, looking like, is that where the ramp is? I don't know. Is that where the ramp is? I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as many lights back then, was there?
Yep.
No, there wasn't. And you know, these guys running the St. Lawrence River nowadays. Some of those islands look alike.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
They sure enough probably do at night. Yeah.
Even during the day they do. So you don't know. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, even shallow water, you can run channels. Like if you're in a little creek, you can stay in the channel. You know, you got stumps and shallows, rock bars. You can stay in that little channel the whole time. That saved a lot of motors, I guarantee you.
Yep. It's you know, those kind of advancements, and we have you know, the chips nowadays that we can put in there that shows in our graphs that shows pretty much every stump, rock, and ditch on the Tennessee River, say, just for instance, and you can come off of that river now, and you know the river channel, and you can run back in them old places, and never even had been there before. You know, if you use like you got sea maps, you got Navionics, you have the what's the one Humminbird uses? It's Lake Master.
Yep.
You know, all them things, that technology has went, just through the roof the last 10, 12 years. And to the point where, nowadays they even got, road beds like on Lake Fork, for instance. It's a stump garden everywhere. But they got road maps. I mean, map chips that you can buy that shows all them old roads, them old country roads that runs around on the lake bottom, and you can actually run them with your outboard, and you never hit anything.
Yeah.
And it looks like a freaking forest around you. And
You
that's kind of coming back to Millwood. That's how Millwood is, except the stumps there are a lot bigger. They're huge.
Yeah, but I remember, even or during the day, sometimes without a GPS, you try to triangulate. You're on a big body of water, like take for instance Okeechobee. You're on a big flat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's around here.
Yeah.
Now it's okay. Pull right up there. Yep, there I am. Boom.
Yep. You know what I think about is a little old tiny rocky hump out in the middle of Lake Erie. Where you can't see land.
Yeah.
You're completely out there at the mercy of whatever the water and the wind's doing, Now you can take, that chip, you got the chip in your graph, you can run right out there to that little hump that ain't but, 20 feet by 20 feet, catch 25, 30 pounds of smallmouth off of it and tickle it on back to the ramp,
Yep.
Back then, I can't remember that gentleman's name that knew that lake back then. Won quite a few tournaments up there. I can't think of his name, but he knew where some of those things were, and that's how he was beating the tour guys on his home water because he knew where some of those things were. Well, nobody else knew where they were. So, but once the GPS systems come out and the mapping has improved, now you can see everything. Everybody knows everything. There is no secrets too much anymore.
No.
There's no secrets at all. I don't think. Not many, anyway.
Not many. No.
Yeah.
Not very many. There might be a black stump over here on a creek channel that nobody knows about. I got a few of them around the world.
That's because you put them there the other day.
Yep. I caught a 1339 off one time, and I still remember where that sucker's at. Caught it.
And Rob, he caught that in the Ohio River.
That's even more impressive.
Actually caught it on Millwood Lake in Arkansas.
Yep.
Yeah. Caught it. My dad was in a boat with me, and I caught it on a blue fleck Jean LaRue crawworm.
Oh, hey, that's old school there.
Yeah, that's old school with a 3/16 ounce lead sinker.
Yep.
And a 4/0 Gamakatsu hook.
Yep.
Flipped that thing over there by a little old stick. It was sticking out of the water, but there was a tree laying there.
Yeah.
Under the water, an old cypress tree that had sunk. It was in the bottom. Flipped it over there and that fish bit. And we was practicing for a tournament. I said, Dad, this is a good one. I'm not gonna catch it. That was when I was just first thinking about the whole not catching every bite that bites during practice.
Yep.
And this fish swam to the boat, and then it seen the boat because I was only in 2 feet of water anyway.
Yep.
So it swims by the boat, and then it sees the boat, and all of a sudden it goes ballistic.
Yep.
It hooks itself. And these days I don't even use a hook when I practice a lot.
Yep.
So I use a little screw-in deal. That does the job. And it hooked itself, and it come up out there and jumped. And I promise you, my knees got so weak I couldn't hardly stand up. I mean, it was just something else because I had never seen a bass this big in person. That fish weighed 1339 post spawn.
Yikes.
And not very long post spawn either. She was pretty poor. And it was a giant bass. I caught another one that weighed 12 on Sardis Lake in Oklahoma one time. Same way. Poor old fish looked dead, Caught it on the same bait. Can't even buy them anymore.
No.
No.
It's just the old black blue fleck with the blue claws on it.
Yep, I remember those. Yeah, I remember those.
4.5 inch Jean LaRue crawworm.
Yep.
I've still got some baits around here from the 80s and 90s.
Yep. I ain't gonna lie. I have a stash of those in my in my shop.
Those the original Berkeley craw.
Yep.
They had that blood red.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
There might be a 100 count bag laying over here somewhere.
Maybe.
Yeah, I bet you. I bet you.
But
I got so many things like that. It's kind of crazy, really. If you look back at the things that we fished and we caught fish back then,
Yeah.
and they're still catching fish today.
Yep.
But people don't hardly use them no more. You know, that thing was good for me for a lot of years, just like the tube. You know, the flipping tube. Man, I
Yep.
won a lot of money on the flipping
Oh,
tube.
yeah.
And just not too many people use it anymore. But I still got 100 bags of them everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but I just, you know, but there's something that I have been talking about here recently on a lot of my Facebook posts and things that is probably people don't understand. So the lakes that we fish nowadays aren't the same lakes they were 30 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
You know, our lakes have silted in. They don't hold oxygen content like they used to because the water is not as fertile as it used to be. The cover's not there that used to be there. The stumps have rotted out. A lot of these things have happened, and that has led to the whole forward-facing sonar deal, which is a whole nother subject.
Yep.
But that's why you don't see those things as prevalent as you used to see them back in the days, because that line of bushes that was there in 1993 is not there today.
Yeah.
And I can show you that on many different lakes. You know, look at, like, say, Wright Patman, for instance. If y'all paid any attention to the NPFL the last 2 or 3 years, they went to Wright Patman. I've won 3 tournaments on Wright Patman Reservoir, just out of Texarkana, Texas.
Yep.
That lake used to be a flipper's paradise. And when I say that, I truly mean it, because it had button willows all down the banks.
Yep.
I mean, all down the banks, every bank had them on it. The trick to catching bass there was figuring out what specific bush they were in.
Yep.
And that was usually a point bush or something like that. So that's how I won those tournaments. One tournament was water was real high and the bushes wasn't underwater, and I won it dragging a Carolina rig down a road bed. But the other times was flipping those bushes, and there's certain willows, actual weeping willows, that those fish get on. You know, so and I'll give you some. I'm probably giving this away, but you know, if you see the true enough weeping willows, the ones with the big limbs and the big leaves that hang off and around the water, the ones that you see that have the pink roots around where they come into the water,
right?
Those are the ones that the bass like to get on. If it doesn't have those, the odds are less than 50% that there's fish there. But if those freaking pink roots are there, it's almost like a cypress tree. If those pink roots are there, there's a bass there. Yeah, you just got to make him bite. He's there. Yep. Or now
you catfish. now you just gave Rick Amato's question an answer. Do you have any good fishing tips for us young guys like me?
There you go. That's one of them, right?
There you go. That's the juice right there.
I was trying to figure out how to work the mute button up here, so.
Well, one of the for a shallow water guy like me, it's time management is very, very important.
Yep.
So once you get, it takes you 2 or 3 bites to figure out a pattern. It's just like going out there to a lake and throwing a crankbait. If you're up there in, say, 3 foot of water or less, you're flipping lay downs, you're flipping trees, whatever. There's going to be a particular situation where there's going to be a fish there that you can duplicate. That. Most, I'm going to say 90% of anglers will just completely look over the pattern.
Yep.
And they'll fish. Say they catch a fish off this lay down. Then they'll go down through here and fish 100 bushes. Never get a bite. And they might catch one on the lay down they see down here. But they never pick up on what that fish is wanting. They're wanting horizontal cover.
Yep.
So anything that's laying horizontally there's a bass laying under it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there's days where they want vertical cover where the bass can sit next to it like this.
Yep.
Once you figure out those patterns, and that root ball is one of them, once you put those things together, then you have to think about time management. How many of these point bushes can I fish in 8 hours?
Yep.
That's how you win tournaments.
Absolutely.
That's the secret to winning tournaments, fishing shallow water.
All right, so now we're going to get difficult. You ready?
Come on with it.
All right. Now don't be bashful with all this information right here, okay? What is your favorite homemade cookie?
Oh, geez, it had to be an oatmeal cookie.
Oatmeal with
There you
raisins or
with or without raisins. I just like the oatmeal. Raisins make it a little bit sweeter though.
Yep.
Yeah. I got a buddy who likes oatmeal raisin with chocolate chip.
Nah. Yeah, those clash.
Yeah, that's a little much. That's a little rich.
That's a little much for me right there. Oatmeal is great. If you add a raisin, it's good. Go any further than that, and it's nah.
Yep.
All right. So we're at the point of the show where we like to give our guests and his props, his due, and everything like that. Talk about your sponsors and just whatever you'd like to. People you'd like to thank or whatever, go right ahead. This is your turn to promote the people who get you out on the water.
All right. Well, I can't really, I don't have a whole lot of sponsors anymore, because I've kind of left that world just a little bit, but I still have a few that I wholeheartedly support. Crusher Lures.
Yep.
100%, man. I won't ever say a bait or a particular item is the best in the world because I haven't used everything out there. I can just tell you what works for me. And I can tell you right now, that little Crusher swim jig, it has caught 1 million fish for me and has won me some money over the last year and a half. I mean, just some serious bucks. So the swim jig, the heavy finesse jig, they're both awesome. All their stuff is awesome. A little Carolina rig weight. I can't remember what
Cajun weight.
Now.
Cajun weight. I got them in my box, brother. Yep.
That thing is just money.
It is
money. Yep. It's absolutely money. And a guy I've been working with here for the past, let's say, 5 to 6 months is Star Lures. He's out of Tennessee. He makes some pretty dadgum awesome baits, and he's just an awesome guy.
Eddie, I just want to stop you, and you don't have to talk about him anymore.
Secret's out the bag now. Secret's out the bag.
Secret's. That as a tournament angler, that's kind of my job, right? And these guys, John, not only is he a great man. I've been to his house there in Tennessee. I see you there.
Yep.
And we visited a couple of times, and we talk through regularly on the phone. And it's all his baits. What I have of them anyway, that's really good. But I'm particularly excited about that little crawdad he's got. Maybe I won't mention that crawdad, but there it is. That thing right there is solid gold.
Yep.
Solid gold. And as soon as I get back into fishing tournaments, I'm gonna win me some money on that thing right there. I did a little bit of stuff with it later this winter before I came to Ohio, and that little critter crawl. And all you got to do is put it on the back of a jig and just pull it in front of you, and you're gonna see what I'm talking about. I look, I've used a lot of things over my years, and I used Zoom a lot, and I still use Zoom a lot. I ain't gonna say I don't. But that little bait right there, little crawdad, will make me throw all my speed crawls away.
Wow,
that's how good it is. I'm telling you, and it is solid money.
And let me tell you something. I came up with that bait. Not the bait, but the color. He showed me.
Yep.
I told him what I wanted. He's like, give me a couple days. He went out. He tried a couple combinations. He showed me, and I said, okay, I like this picture right here.
Yep.
He's like, okay, I'll
Yep.
take them in this bait, this bait, this bait, this bait, this bait, and this bait.
Yep. And he'll work with you and make any color you want. And,
Yes,
and that's
sir.
what I like. And here's something else, guys. A lot of people don't understand is that John is like an independent entrepreneur, right?
Yep.
He's not a big conglomerate out there. I'll tell you this. I have called a company in the past and begged them to make a certain color bait for me again. They laughed at me and hung up. That was a big company, one of the bigger companies, and I done said their name. I ain't gonna say it again,
Right.
but I done said their name, and they would not help me out with that.
If you want to buy 10,000 bags, I'll make it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But who can afford that? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But and I think that's what they told me. It was an ungodly figure. I had to spend like $15,000 or something.
Jeez.
And I'm like, geez, I ain't got that.
No.
Kind of money, guys.
No.
But, any color you want, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna kind of represent all of our mom and pop type operations out there. Is we really need to show them a little love, right? It could be John Adams, which sponsors me with Star Lures. You know what I'm saying? But it could be your next door neighbor over here that sells baits too. If we don't keep those guys going, we in 2 or 3 years we're not going to have anybody. All we're going to have is and as good a company as Berkeley is, and some of these others, that they're going to be able to weather the storm. But our small guys out there that will do us the favor, that will make us the special color we want, are not going to be there anymore to make us that special color if we don't support them.
Yep.
Yep. Pour it in the garage. Oh, guys, pour it in the garage. You got to. Gotta love them.
Yep. I think John uses a couple of a mold maker or something. I don't remember the name of it. Fat Guys or something like that. That's what it's called, I think.
Yep.
Those kind of companies right there, the companies that I like to work with.
Yep.
That support me. Miller Tech is another company that I've worked with in the past. Miller Tech lithium batteries, and I'm not going to say that I'm sponsored by them anymore, but I'm going to say that I've been running their batteries for 4 years. Never had a problem. Never,
Awesome.
Not once, not even a question. They had to call him. Even though I have his phone on his speed dial on my phone, I can call the owner anytime I want. I've never had to call him to ask him, hey, what's up with this battery? Why won't it work? Or can you give me another battery? Can you do that? I only know of one person in my entire cotton picking career that I know was running Millertechs that ever had a battery go bad.
Wow.
And Lester overnighted him a battery to Grand Lake in Oklahoma, and he had it the next morning.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the kind of company they are. And they don't, I'm not getting nothing from them anymore, but that's the kind of companies that I want to work with. People that are going to be there when you need them to be there. And hopefully you never need them, but that's one of the differences of going from Everstart battery in Walmart to something like this.
Yeah.
Or something like Militech. It's a huge jump. It's a great big jump. But I'll promise you, if you save your money and do it, you will never regret it, because you will never have to change another battery in your boat in at least 10 years. At least 10 years.
Can't beat
That's
that.
how good they are. You can't beat that. You can't. And I have heard from, and kind of, don't quote me on this, but I was told that the batteries have, the cycle time on them is somewhere north of 3,000 cycles, and a cycle is, charged to completely dead.
Right.
So that's a cycle. So these batteries are supposed to last at least something in that 3,000 to 3,500 cycles. The average person is never going to do that.
No.
So these batteries might last as much as 20 years, that you don't have to go down to your local Walmart and heave a 58-pound battery up on the boat and set it down in there. We've all done that. And oh my goodness, it ain't, I'm 51 years old, and I'm telling you, when I was 20, that wasn't too bad. But at 51, it's like, oh my God, your tongue's hanging out the side of your mouth. You're trying to get that group 31 up there and get it in there. And by George, but yeah, Militech batteries is pretty daggum awesome. Phoenix Boats, they're a sponsor of me. I'm not on a huge deal with them, but Larry Puckett is the area rep for where I live. Yep. And he helped me out for the last couple of boats getting in that. And of course, Horizon Track and Marine, they're in Clarksville, Arkansas. They're the best boat dealership that I've ever worked with. If you have a problem, all you got to do is give them a call. Those guys will throw a lower unit in a truck and drive to Florida with it to keep you fishing. That's the kind of people that you want around you, right?
Absolutely.
So there's nothing I would tell anybody to go and see. Aaron Mize at Horizon Track and Marine, pretty awesome guys, and I know boat dealerships all over the place, and I'm friends with pretty much all of them, and if I could buy a boat from all of them, I probably would, but I can't. I just can't do that. I got a good buddy down in South Carolina that's got a boat dealership down there. Awesome guy, puts on a tournament down that way. I'm trying to think, for life of me, I can't think of what his tournaments called, but pretty good guy. He actually fished with me on the MPFL. Matt Mullihan's his name.
Yep.
I can't remember. Dynamic Marine, I think is what it's called.
I got
they're a pretty, if you're out on the East Coast, around that North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia area right there, I would highly recommend you go see him again. He's not a sponsor, he's just a friend, but I believe the man would do you right, and I don't think he'll do you any wrong. Outside of that, I really don't have anyone else that I can think of to mention. Of course I could, but all my gear, like I said, I just got into this apartment, so my gear's not here. None of my fishing gear is here. My boat's not here.
Oh.
My boat's actually down at Malone's Marine right now. I loaned it to a friend a few weeks ago, and we had an issue. Have to get some things fixed on the motor, but that's a whole nother story. But I don't have any of my fishing or related gear here. We'll be here tomorrow, hopefully. Cool. And I'm going to have to rent a place to put my boat and everything here, separate from the little apartment I'm staying in. So, a little bit of loss at having all the things in order, like people that fish full time. I'm not a full time tournament angler. I work and I part time fish. So things get a little bit difficult in there. But yeah, those are probably my main 3 or 4 supporters right there. And I don't care if you are where you're at in the United States, give Aaron a call at Horizon Track and Marine, and he'll hook you up. He'll do his best to.
Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, you good, man.
For some reason, my laptop said battery's running low. I forgot to plug it in.
That's one thing I forgot to warn you.
Uh-oh.
I can talk all night.
That's okay. And
you good, brother? You good?
Yeah, Rick Amato says the owner called him on a Sunday and took care of him about your Militech batteries. So.
Yep. Hey, that's how they are. I mean, I I'll say this: I don't have a lot of people that help me out and support me, but I have some really good ones.
Yep.
And that's what's important. You know,
That's
sometimes money isn't important. There's more important things than money, and sometimes those relationships are a lot more important. And I would like to see that make its way back to the fishing industry like it used to be. Because you see guys now that jump from year to year.
absolutely.
They're running this boat this year, they're running that boat the next year, or this trolling motor, or these graphs, or it just the relationships aren't there, in my opinion, that used to be there in the 90s, 2000s, even the teens, 2000 teens. The last 7 or 8 years, it's just kind of went, whew, it's just not there like it used to be. Used to, you could get a relationship with a company and stay with them for ever. And some guys are still that way. I mean, if you look at Gerald Swindle, that dude is awesome. I couldn't do what he does.
Yeah.
Not very many people can. His fan base is huge, and he makes people laugh. That's his deal. If you look at James and Watson,
Yep.
the dude, I have my opinion about the fisherman, but I have my opinion about the person too. He makes people laugh. He's not that great of a stick, but he makes people laugh. Gerald Swindle is kind of the same way.
Yeah.
I
actually had a chance. I fished with Swindle down Toho for Bass Open, and he was entertaining. But it's funny when he's fishing, he gets real quiet, real serious, which I understand.
Uh-huh.
And when I fished with him, he first got his Phoenix. He hadn't been wrapped or nothing. He had his boat and truck was all black. Hadn't had it wrapped yet. But it's awesome. And then Watson, I was Watson's marshal on the FLW tour here at Cumberland. I think 2018. He was a hoot, man. All day long. That dude was a trip.
Yeah,
good times.
They both of them are something else, really. There's something here I would like to do, and I think it takes off next week. The it's on Lanier. I can't touring anglers.
Yeah,
is that what it's called? I think. I have to look on my phone now because I sent them a message today saying, "Guys, I can't do it. I can't get off work, and I can't." I would love to come support your idea, because I'm 100% behind it. And their idea is basically no practice, no information, no waypoints, like a 2 or 3 week off limits period. You can't be there on the water at all.
Yep.
That is my idea of fishing, man.
Yeah.
That's what turns, in my opinion, that's what turns me on, just purely. I'm all over it. Most people want to practice and do all that stuff. Me, I want to see who's the best.
Yeah.
At figuring something out, like I have to figure it out. Because I have to drive. I leave here on Friday and drive all night and get there. And then I have to stay up and fish that next day and try to figure it out with no sleep. And I done been up 24 hours going on 36. That's the kind of tournament I want to freaking see.
That's an Iron Man tournament right there.
There you go. Right there. And that's what it started out with Ray Scott.
Yep.
That's how it started out with him back in the day. That's what got that ball rolling, and there's people that ain't going to agree with that. And, I know that, and I'm not saying all tournaments need to be that way, but maybe them guys at the Bassmaster Classic need to work the expo for 3 days and then jump in their boat and go fishing.
There you go.
Instead of being out there running around, that would give everybody a chance to meet everybody.
Yep.
And it would be a cool deal.
Definitely.
But he's putting this thing on down there on Lanier. I think he's got like 130 boats or something like that. It's $5,000 to get in. Again, there's no practice, no waypoints, You know, you get a 3-hour ride around on the lake the day before. That's all you get.
Yep.
And it's, you know, from then on, it's 3 days of competition, full field for 2 days, and then the final 12 anglers go out the third day.
Cool. That's neat.
It's neat. That's the best. And what I understand, he's going to get a organization going off of this, and I can't wait to see what that looks like. You know, it's really exciting. I would really like to go down there and support this event, but it happens on. I think it made a change there. I think it's the ride around is like on a Tuesday, and then the media day or whatever is on a Wednesday.
Yep.
And then the tournament's actually Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yep.
So that takes me out of work for a whole week, regardless of whether I'm practicing or not. But I'm telling you right now, if I could get away and I could do it, I'd send him the $5,000 and I'd just drive down there and put my boat in the water and say, let's go fishing. You know,
there you go.
I don't know. And I've only been on Lanier twice in my life and for a little short while, but that's kind of what gets me excited. You know, I get excited about that. How can I go down here with no practice, no information, have never been here? Can I compete with Andy Morgan?
Yep.
There you go.
That's what I want. I want to see, can I compete with the best guys in the world with no practice? And that's exactly why I did the Major League Fishing Invitationals last year with no practice.
Yep.
And I finished 70th in the points, I think, something like that.
Yep. With
absolutely no practice. I got one check. I missed a check in 3 of those events by just this very, very small margin. But I absolutely bombed the one, and it was on the lake I should have done good on in Oklahoma.
Oh, man.
But like I said, that's what drives me. You know, the no practice, no information, no frills, just show up and go fishing.
See by the seat of your pants.
Absolutely. And then let's see who can do what.
There you go.
Let them have their electronics. Let them have their.
Yep.
And that's another thing with this thing. They can't have live scope. You can't have the Humminbird 360.
Yep.
You can't have it.
Yeah.
But with that situation, I wouldn't care what they have.
Yeah.
I think I can compete.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yep. There you go.
So that's kind of me in a nutshell. And like I said, I told y'all we got started. I can go all night. But
yeah,
we could too. Yeah, we could too.
I think for the working man out there, and again, I am one of those working guys. Yeah, I fished professionally for a little while, and I've done some things. But I think excuse me. I think for the guy and woman, whatever, angler, we'll say angler, that has to work for a living, that works a 5-day-a-week job, 6-day-a-week job, whatever. You know, companies ain't giving you, but what's the average one? 2 weeks of PTO a year?
Yep.
Maybe 4.
Yep.
We should absolutely use that PTO that we get to spend with family on a family-type vacation, not to be out here going to Florida or Minnesota or New York or somewhere to go fishing. You know, I think that and it's just my opinion. I know some people going to completely disagree with me, but moving the tournaments to what we have nowadays has somewhat cut the working man out of the picture completely. Completely. Half of the Toyota series are in the middle of the week now.
Yeah.
So you have to take a whole week off to go fish one of them. You know, that's kind of what I was looking at today. I was like, man, I don't know. But half of them are that way. Bass is pretty much there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You know, if you fish a Bass Open, it's the same way, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You know what I mean? NPFL is pretty well a week. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Sunday's a travel day. At least they kind of give you some time in there.
Yep.
But the average working class guy just does not really have a chance to be competitive in those things anymore, particularly in the Bass Opens because of what they did.
Oh, yeah.
Now you got to fish 9 to have a chance
Yep.
to qualify for the elites. You can still make the classic with fishing 3 if you do real good, but that kind of hurt my feelings when Bass did that right there. But I just think that the working man needs a little love right now, and that's what's wrong with the sport.
I agree with you.
All right. Well, Eddie, I just want to say thank you very much for coming on the show. Enjoyed it. We'll definitely sign you up and get you on again. And
anytime.
Conversation.
Yeah, we enjoyed it, man. Great juice. You share some great juice with all the guys, so we appreciate it.
I got a lot more, so you can bring me on again. I'll give away a little bit more.
All right, sound like a plan.
We'll get some of those Ohio fishing tips from you next time.
All right.
There you go.
Right.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you very much, buddy.
Yep. Bye-bye.
All right,
Have a good night.
All right, you too, man.
Bye-bye.
All right. That was some good points there on the tournaments. I didn't. I looked that up at Lanier. That's pretty cool concept.
Yep.
But it gives everybody a choice. That's even better.
Yep.
But awesome guest, man. Awesome guest. Good show.
Yes, it was. And I'll tell you, those star lures.
Yep.
And I'm not.
Those are the bomb.
I called them up and said, "Here's what I want."
Yep.
Or I not call them, but Facebook message. Here's the color I'm looking for. And he shot like 6 or 7 different colors.
Wow.
Yep. And I'm like, I want that one. He goes, okay. Yep. I want 50 of this, 50 of this, 50 of this, 50 of this, 50. He's like, okay. He goes, when do you need them? I said, by May.
Yep.
He goes, all right. And he actually, remember that chatterbait color I showed you? The multicolor?
Yeah.
He bought that mold specifically for me.
Wow. That's a heck of a guy right there, man.
He said, I got one, but I can't do a multicolor.
Yeah.
A split.
Yep.
But he got it. I was happy. So
that's awesome, man. You can't beat that.
No, you can't. For all you guys out there still watching on the show, definitely check out Star Lures. So
absolutely. And we appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure to like and share, subscribe, and appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next Monday for sure.
Yes. All right. Be safe, everybody.
Later.